Maybe we have to call this rain dance music or something when we get some more rain.
Good morning and welcome to Nature Watch. Nature Watch is sponsored by Waddell's Nursery, Floral Garden, and Bird Center at the corner of 12th Street and Millen Road. And now your host of Nature Watch, it's Rain Man, Gary Miller.
Good morning.
How you doing, man?
Oh, getting a little bit of rain, but we still need some more rain. Oh, my goodness.
We could say that over and over and over
It seems like
again.
A broken record. So a week ago, last Wednesday, so about a week and a half ago, I had 1.5 inches of rain, and that was between the report coming out from the drought monitor and they're actually checking the soil.
Okay.
We got just enough rain in part of Kalamazoo County that took us out of the abnormally dry conditions. So if you draw a line basically from the southwest corner of Kalamazoo County to the northeast corner, that line, everything northwest of that, is still in the abnormally dry condition.
Yes, your key word in that conversation was part.
Yes. Well, and I'm guessing with the lack of rain so far this week, unless we get a nice, good soaking rain between now and Tuesday morning, we're going to go back in that abnormally dry condition for the entire county, or almost the entire county.
Yeah.
It's dry.
Wow.
I had that nice drizzle yesterday. We needed it. I got a total of 1,500s, not even 0.2 of an inch. And that isn't even as much as plants are using in a day right now.
Oh, okay.
Plants are using about 0.2 of an inch. Getting close to that right now. About a week or so. They're going to actually be pushing almost 1/4 of an inch of water a day that they'll use and lose through transpiration, evaporation. And if we're not getting that equivalent amount of rainfall, plants get thirsty, just like we do.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to join in on the show today, and I'm sure Gary has a lot to talk about.
Oh, I have lots to talk about.
Yeah.
I have more. I actually picked up a bunch of things this morning that I have for next week to talk about, too. So
there you go. 269-382-4280. If you want to participate this morning, you can text in questions or comments to us at 80373. I'll tell you what, let's get this out of the way now. It's trivia time. This makes up for last week when I was downtown
for
at the art
today.
Show, helping out Creative Cafe.
Well, maybe we'll get some calls here, too, because I'm going to actually have people, besides the trivia question, before I do the trivia question, okay. I did see a little note on the Michigan Storm Chasers. They posted that fireflies have been sighted in Michigan again.
Hey, it's summer.
So if you've seen them, give us a call. I've not seen any yet. Of course, the weather being damp last night didn't allow them to fly around very much, but we should be seeing them here in the next week or so. But so if you've seen some, give us a call. Hey, appreciate that. So we'll go to the trivia.
Yeah.
And,
so don't call about the fireflies now.
Yeah. You want to call about the trivia now, and then after the trivia question, they can our break, you can call about the fireflies.
Right.
So I saw a friend posted something about some invasive plant that is not fun to touch because you have quite a reaction to it. And so it led me to some other plants. We have numerous plants that are not native to Michigan. And so one of those is giant hogweed. And it looks like numerous other plants that are both actually, none of those other plants that it looks like are native to Michigan. There's some that are naturalized. So my question this morning was giant hogweed, because giant hogweed can have some great effect on your skin that you would not like. Has those lookalikes. So my trivia question this morning is name 2 of the lookalikes. There's quite a few.
Two?
Well, if they find the list of lookalikes, it would be pretty easy to find. I'm not even giving them a hint where to look for it. I already gave them a hint, basically, because it's an invasive plant.
Okay. Repeat the question again.
So giant hogweed is an invasive plant, causes some skin dermatitis, and we'll talk about that a little more here. It has numerous lookalike plants. I'm looking for 2 of them. I had, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them that I found. Real easy.
You're good.
So I'm looking for 2.
Real easy, but you put that number 2 behind it. 269-382-4280. First correct caller to give Gary his 2 answers.
Yes.
We'll win a $20 gift card to Waddell's Nursery, Floral Garden, and Bird Center, actually at the roundabout, 12th Street and Millen Road. Yeah.
Yes. So I did note on the weather yesterday, and actually today is going to be the same, looks like. There are parts of Alaska that are extremely warmer than Michigan right now. They have heat advisories. They're up in the upper 80s, almost 90.
But that's not really that odd when you think about it.
For this time of year, it is, though.
Well,
it's a little early. It's a little early.
Okay, I'll give you that.
And it's not on the coast either. I mean, it's way up in interior Alaska. So it's, I was looking at the National Weather Service's map, and I'm like, and their advisories and warnings, et cetera. And I'm like, oh my goodness, big area up in central eastern Alaska. So
it's not that often you can say, let's get that heat wave from Canada.
True.
True. Because that's where eventually it would be coming from.
Yeah. Eventually it'd be, it's actually that Gulf, the jet stream is going to probably pull that air down, and it'll kick it down near the Gulf of Mexico and pick up all sorts of moisture and then bring it back up, and maybe we'll get some rain out of it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, it's going to warm up next week, as Scott
Yes.
Larson was talking about, up in the 80s,
Yes.
possibly near 90. And of course, you can add in that our favorite thing this time of year, humidity.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was sarcastically said.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, that humidity, not used to it right now. And we get up in that uncomfortable range of humidity and temperatures. Is not fun working outside.
No, it's not.
So actually got a neat event coming up this next Friday, 10:42 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Summer begins officially.
Yes.
Officially,
yeah.
yes. Seemed like summer a couple times already. The weather's been weird though. I mean, we've been cool and a little bit of moisture, but pretty well cool. And then we get some really warm days, and it's like, oh my goodness, it's really hot.
And I grew up with weather like that here in the area. I also grew up with golfers being over par. So, it's a two-way street.
True. Yeah. See some of these golf tournaments, and they have golfers that are like teens below par, going into the third or fourth round.
Yeah, they're taking advantage of nature. Whatever.
Yeah, I agree with you. That was always a big time, golf tournament. If you had several golfers that were under par when they finished up their 4 rounds.
Okay. One more comment. I remember a certain British Open. I just can't remember when, where the winner was actually over par. So,
yeah.
Okay, repeat your trivia question again, if you could, please.
So, the giant hogweed's an invasive plant in Michigan. I'm looking for 2 look-alike plants. The giant hogweed.
269-382-4280. If you want to win a gift card from Waddell.
And I'll tell you, it's pretty easy to find if you know where to look. And I gave you the hint of it. It's invasive.
Okay. Well, there you
go. People are just still filling their coffee cups up. They go, oh my goodness, they started the trivia question early today.
Yeah.
So some neat bird sightings. They're still seeing blue grosbeak around southwest Michigan. In St. Joe County.
Hold that thought.
We have somebody calling.
We hold that thought. Good morning, WKZO. Who's this?
It's Trevor.
Trevor, hey, how you doing, man?
Excellent.
All right. What's your guess, sir?
Wild carrot and wild parsley.
Oh, that's 2 of them. Yes, very good.
Well, there you go. What are the others?
So the others are cow parsnip, angelica, poison hemlock, and then they've also linked in as somewhat look-alike common elderberry and pokeweed. And so wild carrot actually goes to it's a sort of official common name is Queen Anne's lace. But they're all most of those except for the elderberry and the pokeweed are in the carrot family. And so they somewhat smell like carrots. The roots can taste like carrots, though you don't want to taste the poison hemlock one because you will may not survive that tasting.
There you go. Trevor, congratulations. I have a $20 gift card for you. Can you hold on the line for just a moment?
For sure. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. And we will be back with more Nature Watch after this here on WKZO.
Watching beautiful wild birds in your spring landscape is so enjoyable, and the experts at Waddell's Garden Center will tell you the best way to enjoy nature and keep birds close is to give them their favorite foods and make sure there's water and shelter nearby. Waddell's carries a large selection of top-quality Stovall bird houses and feeders, and right now they're all 20% off. Stovall feeders and houses are locally made out of cedar and come in many sizes and styles. Also this week, get a great deal on black oil sunflower seed. The 50-pound bag is on sale for only $31.98, saving you $5. Another favorite of many birds is Waddell's Fruit and Nut Blend. This week, the 7-pound bag is on sale for just $9.99. And don't forget the hummingbirds. Waddell's selection of hummingbird feeders can't be beat, with dozens of varieties, as well as the dye-free food that's best for hummingbirds. Waddell's, the Kalamazoo area's bird feeding headquarters, on Texas Drive at the corner of Millam and 12th Street.
I like local news because I like to be involved in my community.
More Kalamazoo area news online than ever before at WKZO.com.
842, Trevor from Kalamazoo, our big winner of a $20 gift card to Waddell's. Nature Watch continues right now, though, with Gary Miller.
Yeah, so a couple other things, and then we'll get into some of those invasive plants. So I did see a neat article, news article on TV8. I think Scott Larson had it. They had this some shots of a golf course up north that got hit by lightning.
Oh, I saw that.
Treetops Resort. And it was in the news that happened earlier this week, a few days ago. And if you look at the photos, it's fantastic. It looks like a lightning strike on the ground with the brown streaks going across the green.
Now, that was on a green. Actual green,
yeah, it was
right?
it was on a green. And,
I am having Caddyshack flashbacks right now.
I'm showing Jim the photo right now, but yeah, it looks pretty eerie.
Yeah.
So it brings up a point about lightning safety. So the chance of you being struck by lightning during any given year is 1.2 million to 1, or 1 in 1.2 million. The odds of being struck in your lifetime, estimated to be 80 years, are 1 in 15,300. That's from the National Weather Service.
You are so encouraging.
So that makes so you got to use common sense with lightning. It depends on your exposure.
Yeah, don't hold your putter in the air if you're having the best round of your life.
Or an umbrella even. So in 2024, there were 12 documented lightning fatalities in the U.S. And so if you get caught in a thunderstorm, the key is don't stand under tall trees or sit in a golf cart. Don't stand under a lone tree, even a small one. They can act like a lightning rod. Get away from your cart and especially from your golf clubs quickly. Stay away from water. So most golf courses have water hazards, etc. If you're old school and have metal spikes on, take them off. Again, you could be a conduit for lightning.
Yeah.
And if you're stranded in the open, go to a low place such as a ravine or valley or the lowest spot you can find. So key is before you go out, check the forecast. Use some common sense. Lightning can happen very fast, and typically once you hear thunder and see lightning, the safe period that they use for high school sports especially, but most even college athletics, 30 minutes clear.
I sat through a 5-hour delay over in that studio because we had a thunderstorm coming through Waldo. I remember. Yeah, I know.
I've sat through a few of those delays too at some football games, and many hours, and you're drenched, and you in buildings, so you're safe, and then you get cool and
right.
You're damp. So be safe with that lightning. I've had 2 experiences myself that twice I had lightning strike close enough that the hair stood up in the back of my neck, and one of those was close enough that my arm was tingling for about 3 hours.
Ooh.
So I figured I've used my chances. I should have played lotto those days, I guess. We'll see. Hopefully that was my 2. There's been a few individuals that have been struck twice by lightning. So I don't know if you call that lucky or not. That's not lucky. They survived them, though.
It's shocking. It really is.
Oh.
Oh, man. I should just go back home, shouldn't I?
Yes, you should. So some of those bird sightings, we're still seeing that I mentioned that blue grosbeak. Actually, another confirmed sighting in St. Joe County. They did see sort of a neat-looking bird, ruddy turnstone. Have you ever heard of a ruddy turnstone?
No.
I was not familiar with that. I had to look it up. So it's sort of a brown and white, a little bit of black, and pretty unique-looking bird. Actually, confirmed sighting in Allegan County near Saugatuck Harbor Natural Area. And so if you look at the Audubon or Maryland, look at the ruddy turnstone. Very unique bird. You can see how they could identify that because it didn't confirm it because I don't know of any other bird that looks like it.
Okay, well, what's their native habitat? You said
south of here.
Okay, yeah. How far south though?
We're actually going south, and so that's the thing we've got with some of these birds that nest south, typically Ohio River Valley, and then some of these birds we're seeing too. We're seeing still a lot of unusual warblers that nest much further north, and so there's still some of those warblers are coming through. Quite a few unique warblers and not typical warblers being sighted.
We don't normally see around here. Now,
blame the weather.
I'm thinking storms blew them up, possibly?
Well, storms, and because we've been relatively cool, those birds that nest way north up in the Arctic Circle or near the Arctic Circle typically have to wait for at least some of the snow melt so they get warmer, so they get insects, etc. if they eat insects or plants. And if it isn't warm, that snow doesn't melt, that food isn't there, so they can't move north.
Right.
And so they've been, so to speak, twiddling their thumbs, waiting to move north because of the weather.
Trapped here.
Right.
Right. Right.
So,
don't worry, the heat's coming.
Yeah,
from Alaska.
So we look for the heat, look for the warmth, and then it gets really hot, and we forget how cold it was in the wintertime and wish it was a little cooler, and vice versa in the wintertime. We're like, gosh, I wish it was warmer. So one of the nice things being in Michigan, the weather changes at some point or other. Some other neat activities coming up. So if you haven't made any activities with Dad tomorrow, you can go to the Kellogg Bird Sanctuary. Dads are free.
Hey, there you go.
Might be a pretty nice day out for a walk. Maybe not too hot, and maybe some sunshine. See some neat birds. Coming up this next Thursday, Kalamazoo Area Wild Ones has their Pints and Native Plants at Brewery Outre, and that starts at 7. You can find that info on the Kalamazoo Area Wild Ones website. Next Saturday, the Kalamazoo Astronomical Society has another public observing session at the Nature Center, and that starts at 9:30 p.m. The highlight of the night are going to be Super Summer Nebula, which might be really neat. We have some clear skies. In 2 weeks, I want to mention this so you can set your calendars, Waddell's has their annual pollinator event. And so we always have a lot of butterflies that we have hatch out in the butterfly tent, so you can get all sorts of photos. Usually after the weekend, Monday or Tuesday, we typically do a release of those. And so you can come and learn about all sorts of butterflies. We get all sorts of native butterfly cocoons and chrysalis so they can hatch out. They're going to have a few. That whole event's free. There are going to be a couple little friendly crafts that may have a little minor fee with us. So check out Waddell's website. That goes from 4 p.m. to 6:30 on Friday the 27th and 10 to 2 on Saturday the 28th. And I mention that because we're starting to get warm and starting to see some butterflies. And I just caught a little bit on Scott Larson was talking this morning that some monarch numbers that they're seeing, some of the numbers are starting to come up. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit more next week. So the weeds, oh my gosh, giant hogweed. Looks like a giant wild carrot. So most of us are familiar with Queen Anne's lace. And Queen Anne's lace or wild carrot, interesting enough, most of these plants were brought over from Europe or Asia for plantings in our gardens, and they escaped. So wild carrot is not native to North America. It is naturalized just about everywhere. And that doesn't usually get real tall, so it's got that sort of lacy leaf and white bloom. And doesn't usually cause much effect as far as if you rub against it or touch it with your hands in that. But giant hogweed has a similar cluster of flowers that's very large, though. They can get about 2.5 feet around as far as that cluster of flowers. The plant can get 7 to 14 feet tall. It's huge.
Yeah.
And the stems are green with purple splotches, and you can see visible coarse white hairs on the stems. The leaves are up to 5 feet wide, and they're compound leaves, so the lobe deeply incised, and you can see some of those leaves. So it looks like it's a almost lobe leaf or compound leaf, but it's actually one big leaf. It's native to Asia. What the concern is that if you happen to touch it and get the sap on your skin, it causes a reaction known as photodermatitis or photosensitivity and can damage your eyes. So if you happen to get it on your skin, it may get very sensitive to sunlight and may blister when exposed to sunlight. So if you've come into contact with it, wash it immediately with cold water, keep the area out of sunlight, and seek medical care. And the reason I mention that is because if you inadvertently touch your eyes, you need to get your eyes washed and get them flushed out, get medical care right away, because sometimes it takes up to 2 years or more before you get out of the symptoms, and which would mean you would need some dark sunglasses anytime you go outside. It can cause some pretty severe damage to your eyes. That giant hogweed's the worst of them, but wild parsnip and cow parsnip are very similar. And Angelica is another one that's very similar as far as effects. Giant hogweed is the worst, and then wild parsnip and cow parsnip are right after that. Not quite as drastic of effect as if you hit it, but very, very significant. You get I've seen photos of individuals that have touched the sap, and it looks like you have this horrible rash on your arm, and you get these huge blisters. Some people have that reaction a little bit with Queen Anne's lace or the wild carrot, but typically that doesn't affect most people. But it is on the invasive species list, and So make yourself aware of those when you're out hiking around. You're most likely going to see a lot of these plants growing. I can typically pick them out going down the road. A lot of times wild parsnip or cow parsnip, but occasionally you see the giant hogweed, and mainly because they get so blasted big. But so definitely want to be aware of that of those plants. Poison hemlock looks somewhat similar. It also has some purple splotches on its stem, and this one is it can cause some skin problems too and dermatitis, but it is very poisonous if you ingest any of it, and so it can be it actually can be fatal. This one also gets quite tall, 6 to 10 feet. So these plants get big.
Oh.
And so if you see that plant looks like a giant wild carrot, don't touch it. So most times, because they can sometimes act like a biennial, so they may have just a rosette of leaves initially the first year, and then the second year shoot up their spike and be the tall plant. In warmer climes, they can actually act like a perennial, so they come back year after year. And because they have that root, they're sometimes difficult to eradicate. So the invasive species network in Michigan, if you do observe some of these plants, they ask that you report them, especially giant hogweed, poison hemlock. You usually don't see too much poison hemlock around, but it is around here and there. But the giant hogweed, cow parsnip, wild parsnip, quite common. And so they ask that you report that. Some of the counties and some of the little agencies that have sort of grouped together countywide to eradicate some of the invasive species sometimes have some funds to help eradicate some of those populations. So at least report it. There may be some assistance out there. You do want to be very careful because if you cut it down or so, you want to make sure you wear some good protective gear so you can, when you're cutting it, but also protective gear when you're cleaning your cutting tools, because that sap would be on those cutting tools.
Right.
And it can be isn't a pretty sight when you get into it, that's for sure.
There you go. If you want to join us, we have a few minutes left, 269-382-4280, or you can text us to 80373. Give you a quick update as to what's going on in a few. Over the garden fence after the 9 o'clock news, but Andy is off today. So I have something special planned. We're going back 9, 10 years on phone calls. It's
like a time machine.
It is. It's going to be fun. Now, I'm curious as to, and I want you to listen on your way over to Waddell's.
Oh, I always do.
And you can tell me, okay, we don't sell that anymore, or we don't, because it's possible, it's very
well,
possible.
Things change, but there's some products that we've been selling for many, many, many years, and they're still working fantastic. So,
right. Yeah.
A couple of the things I noted, had a little report this week that says actually this is from Michigan State and the DNR, that the spongy moths are waning as far as population-wise. So maybe we'll not see as much of an effect this year. But the little article that I had, it says, spongy moths are waning, but keep an eye on your trees and your picnic table. So they're little local populations, and we've already seen quite a hatch out in some areas. There are some areas that are going to have quite an effect yet from the spongy moth, formerly known as the gypsy moth. But the number of acres that are affected has gone down considerably. Last year, there was about 169,000 acres in the state of Michigan that were affected, according to the DNR. The most we had was actually in 2021 in recent years, 1.35 million acres.
Wow.
That were affected by the spongy moth. And they watch over, the DNR watches over roughly about 20 million acres annually from the air. They do sort of air monitoring and do some population guesses as far as the spongy moth. But it goes in cycles. So if you have those spongy moth, the easiest way to do that is actually take care of those is get some nice sticky substance. So we've got a couple of products at Waddell's that you can wrap the tree trunk and put this sticky stuff on there. The caterpillars climb up and down, so they usually come down during the daytime. During the nighttime, they go up. And if you have a really quiet area and you have really good hearing, you can hear them chewing. Not a pleasant sound to hear when you're out in the middle of a national forest or something. I've experienced that in years past.
Hey, chew with your mouth shut.
Yeah. There's so many of them, and that was actually in a lot of evergreens, so needled evergreens. They chew, like I said, they will eat just about anything. They're one of their favorites are oak trees. But hearing them chew, and then their defecation and their droppings, called frass. If you're tent camping out in the nighttime and you have a big population of spongy moth caterpillar up there chewing away and dropping their frass down, it sounds like rain on your tent.
Oh.
Not pleasant to hear in the middle of the night. So if you have those spongy moth yet, I know we've had some people that have, still have that population. The news is looks like the population is going down, so maybe we'll get out of that here pretty quick. So some neat things. Keep an eye out. I'm going to talk about another invasive next week that they discovered this last week here in Michigan. So we're seeing some more, and maybe some more news about some pollinators, and maybe some other neat info. So if you've seen more fireflies, keep an eye out for fireflies this coming week. Get outside and enjoy the outdoors, and do a rain dance now and then. So we need some more rain.
Yeah, do that, please. Okay, anything special going on at the shop today?
Well, I got to come out and buy a plant for Dad. Dads like trees.
Yeah.
So you buy a tree for Dad. Buy neat shrub.
Yeah.
Big viburnum shrub, or so they're on sale right now too.
Yeah.
So save some money. But help Dad plant it tomorrow for Father's Day.
Yeah. Some fathers need new cars. That's all I'm saying. Okay, anyway.
We don't sell cars.
I don't need a new car.
But we can sell some neat plants you can screen where you park your car.
There you go. All right, Gary, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. And, yeah, get down there to Waddell's and see him today.
Or if you want to get a bird feeder, cool garden tools, Dad needs a new shovel.
Right.
We got some neat shovels there.
Exactly. There you go. Gary Miller, thank you. And thank you for listening to this edition of Nature Watch. Tune in each Saturday morning at 8:30 for Nature Watch, brought to you by Waddell's Nursery, Floral Garden, and Bird Center at the corner of 12th Street and Millam Road. CBS and local news is up next, and then a very special edition of Over the Garden Fence. That's all on the way here on 590 and 106.9 FM WKZO.